Hello. Welcome back to another episode of She's Doing All Right. My name is Sarah, and on this podcast, we discuss motherhood, mental health, and whatever else I feel like talking about. Today, we have a very special guest, Simone Kumar. She is the face and essence behind Simone and Camera. She is beautifully wonderful on Instagram and TikTok. And by that, I mean that she is bright and colorful and cheerful, and she just spreads joy everywhere you see her. I have known her for about 2 years. It's been an honor. I hope you love this episode. We discuss everything from her childhood, how she got into photography, missing out on Vine's stardom, solo traveling, and a big focus is on women traveling. And then we do discuss a little bit about mental health in content creation, as well as 3 core beliefs that she has for what you need to build a community online. So without further ado, I want to let's jump into it, and you can see her for yourself and meet her. Thanks for listening.
Oh, look at you now. You're all right.
I want to know what you were like as a child.
Oh my gosh, I was very quiet, wasn't allowed to have opinions. It was whatever my mom said, that's what I did.
Okay.
And so having an opinion and knowing what I wanted to do came very late in life. Actually, when I started dating John in 2015. So that's when I made my first decision.
Oh my gosh. Did that kind of lead into the travel stuff and content creating?
Yeah.
Because I actually was going to ask too, like, do you feel like content creators are more introverted or extroverted, or does it depend on the person?
I think it depends on the person, and you would think most of us are extroverted, but we're just introverts.
Yeah.
Looking to escape.
I feel like that too. Yeah. And like you get your little moments with people where you're like, perfect, we all connected, but now like, okay, bye.
Yeah.
Like, I like to show up on camera so I can turn it off.
Yeah, me too.
What are 3 of these things that you've never traveled without?
So my camera for sure. A tripod.
That's a good one.
That's like 100%. And my face wash.
Ooh, what's your face wash?
It's just, I need to have like my own face wash.
Yeah.
I don't really care like what face wash it is. I'm not very like skincare particular or anything.
Just not hotel brand.
Yeah, and I've done that so much, and I know it's not good, but
Yeah.
I keep doing it because I'm lazy just to take my own products, and I'm a bad packer too.
Really?
Yeah, like I'm... Okay,
is it something you're working on?
Yes, I am, because you would think I'm organized, but I'm not. Like, it just looks organized, but in reality, like, I'm not very... I'm just thinking about the pictures. Let's just say that. Yeah.
So outfits?
Yes.
And locations?
Yes.
And then hygiene is like...
Yeah, no.
Somewhere else?
Yeah, I will use whatever you give me. Like, it was that, but now I'm just like, no, I need to take at least my own face wash. So,
that's fair.
My face wash. Yeah.
That's fair. What brand are you using right now?
Right now, it's this brand called, like the main brand, like the mother brand is Femina.
Oh,
but then
I've never heard of that.
It's an Indian brand.
Oh, okay.
I only use Indian products.
Nice.
Mostly for my face and stuff, because I feel like that works a lot better.
Yeah.
And it's Himalaya.
Okay.
And it's a neem face wash. Neem is like this, I think it's like a medicinal herb.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That sounds really interesting.
Yeah.
I'm gonna check that out after. Tell me a little bit about where you grew up first.
Okay, so I was born in Mumbai, and I lived there for like a good part of my childhood till I was like 7, and then we moved to Abu Dhabi, and I was really happy to move because who doesn't like moving?
Yeah.
Like, and I was gonna be closer to my dad, which
Right.
was really exciting because I didn't grow up with him. Like, he wasn't around much when I was growing up. So I was just happy to be a family now.
Yeah.
Like, looking back, I had a very privileged life growing up, and I didn't realize that till very recently.
Okay.
Like, I talk about something and be like, you know, like when you're a kid, you would do this, and then people are like, dude, no. What are you talking about? That's like rich people shit. And I'm like, oh.
Like, oh, I am rich people. Oh, okay.
Yeah,
I was rich
so,
people.
yeah, I was. So, yeah, I grew up not having to want anything. It was just given to me.
Okay.
Like, I remember going on shopping trips with my dad, and his love language is gifts. So, like, if we were having a fight, like, he would take me shopping and things like that. So I just have to look at an item and he'd be like, yeah, just take it.
Oh.
So it was just like, Dad,
Oh.
yeah, okay, put it in the basket. Dad, okay, put it in the basket. Yeah.
Did you ever get trips out of this?
Like, what do you mean?
Like, were you ever like, I really want to visit this place? And
Oh.
he's like, okay, here's a ticket.
Okay, so it didn't necessarily happen like that when we were kids,
Okay.
but me and my brother, we were obsessed with the movie The Mummy.
I've never seen it.
I've watched it over 1,000 times.
Okay, you make up for the ones I have.
Yeah. And I know the dialogues. Me and my brother would reenact the whole movie.
Oh my gosh.
It's my favorite, one of my favorite movies. And we were so obsessed with it, and my dad was like, okay, I guess we'll take you guys to Egypt. So we've been there 4 times.
Oh my gosh.
Mhm.
Do you like it? I hear such mixed things about Egypt. Yeah. I hear from a lot of people that it's like such an amazing place to go, and then I hear from other people that they would never go back.
I think that when you live here, like in this part of the world, everything to the west of this part of the world is, it's not safe,
Yeah.
you know? But it really is not like that.
Okay.
Egypt,
I was gonna say that too. I was like,
yeah,
now that I'm saying it out loud, everybody that like whose reviews I've seen are
Yeah.
from this side,
yeah,
like North America specific.
yeah. No, very safe. And
Cool.
Arabs are very hospitable people.
Yes, they
Very.
are.
So they're very welcoming. Of course, there's like a few, and they're mostly men.
Yeah.
That that will try and like haggle you, or
Okay.
like if you're walking on the street or something, they might pass
Yeah.
comments and things like that.
Yeah.
But the women and most people, like even these men, it's like a one-off, you know.
Mhm.
But most people are very welcoming. They want you to know more about their culture and see a lot more than just the touristy spots.
Yes.
Which I love.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I wouldn't say it's unsafe.
No, that's good to know because
Mhm.
I've always thought Egypt would be so cool.
Yeah.
And yeah, I've seen so much stuff that's kind of made me like, oh, maybe not
Mhm.
as like a priority trip. Maybe
Yeah.
it's like if you get the opportunity. But yeah, I went to Jordan in 2014
Mhm.
and I still have a bracelet because one of my friend's parents,
Mhm.
or he took me to his mom's house and she was just like, here's the food, here's a bracelet, all this stuff. And she didn't even speak English. She was just
Yeah.
so excited. She was like, thank you for coming here.
Mhm.
My friend's translating for her. Anytime we were down in the street, like I did a couple days where I just walked by myself, but most of the time I was with them. And yeah, everybody was just so sweet and so
Mhm.
welcoming and like, where are you from? Thanks for coming. I got that so
Yeah.
much, people being like, thanks for coming.
Mhm.
I'm like, I've never met somebody in, like traveling and been like, thanks for
Right?
coming to Canada.
Yeah.
But that's such, like, I loved that feeling. And so I want to start saying that more
Yeah.
because I'm like, it made me feel so special. And
Yeah.
like, I feel like an honored guest in the country.
Yeah.
And I'm just visiting a little town.
I know. And it's so different because I feel like here, there's different reactions.
Yeah.
Like if, for example, when I was in Toronto, people were like, why are you here? Like on Toronto Island, it was raining. And I was like, oh, like we're from Alberta.
Mm.
And they're like, okay, why are you here and why do you live in Alberta? And it's like, you hate where you live.
Yeah.
That's kind of like the way to go, I feel like. But I hate doing that, which is why I'm like, no, Calgary's amazing.
Yeah.
Alberta's amazing. So
That is all your content.
Yes.
You make me so excited to be here because like I love Calgary.
me too.
But I love it just for the amenities and it's beautiful.
Yeah.
But I came from such a small town.
Yeah.
So anything is better to me,
Yeah.
right? But then I see everything you're posting. I'm like, what am I doing in my house? I need to get out and like go show my kids this.
Yeah, and like for me, when people see that I post like a lot of like, why do you find parks exciting? It's just a park. And they're like, you must have never been anywhere in the world. And I'm like, I grew up in some of the biggest cities,
Yeah.
like Mumbai, big city.
Yeah.
Abu Dhabi, Dubai, big cities. I lived in Vancouver for 5 years.
Yeah.
Big ass city. But Calgary it's home.
Yeah.
Like it feels like home.
Yeah.
And I think more people just need to embrace Calgary. In the winter, you have an exception.
Yeah.
Hate it as much as you want.
Leave.
But at least in the summer, like, don't be doing that, you know?
Yeah,
So
no, the
beautiful.
summer is gorgeous here, especially with the water and all
Yeah.
the green spaces. I do feel like Calgary has really good green spaces.
Mhm.
I've had a lot of friends move from BC to Calgary specifically because of the walking paths.
Right.
And like, if you have a bike, you can go all over the city
Yeah.
and never get in a car or transit.
True.
And like,
There's e-scooters now.
Yeah.
There's e-bikes.
it's just a really great
Mhm.
outdoor place.
Yeah.
So you've moved around a lot.
Mhm.
Did you find that your love of traveling started quite young? Or was it more of just wanting to leave and get into a new space and then going from there?
Oh my god, there's so many factors. And I've only realized this because I've been doing a lot of shadow work.
Yay!
Thanks to you.
I love shadow work and I love when other people start doing it too.
I know, and all you did was just mention it, and I was like, what is that? But it's helped a lot.
Yeah.
I think my love for leaving places, I wouldn't even say traveling, my love for leaving places came because I was a pretty toxic child. I was just angry all the time, and I didn't have a lot of friends, and I know why. It's because I was the way I was.
I mean, I've only heard some stories that won't need to be repeated.
Yeah, and
But,
so I'd be very happy to like leave my friends,
Yeah.
you know, because you know how kids are just really rude too?
Yes.
Like they will call you out
Yes.
and they'll gang up on you and things like that. So that happened a lot when I was a kid. And so I was just like, okay, you know what, like whatever. I don't want to be friends with these people. And we're moving anyway.
Yeah.
And I switched schools around so much.
Really? Even
Mm-hmm.
growing up?
Yeah. So for me, it was constantly like, it doesn't really matter what these people think because I'm going to leave anyway. And so it was mostly just the love of leaving. And then when I came to Canada, that feeling of like wanting to run away didn't happen as much because I was away from my parents. I was away from everything I knew. I was making my own decisions. Like I remember when I first came to Canada, it was the first time that I had a debit card, and I would call my dad every single time for like even a $2 purchase. I'd be like, "Hey, can I use a debit card?"
And how old were
And-
you?
I was 18.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah.
And is this because you weren't allowed to make decisions, or was it just that everything had been kind of done for you?
It's also like when you grew up in the Middle East, you have such a easy life if you come from like a middle class or an upper middle class family.
Okay.
It's an easy life because it's very sheltered.
Yeah.
If you want to hang out, you go to the mall because
Yeah,
that's all
just
there
like
is.
you just.
It's a hot place. It's a desert. So you go hang out in the mall where there's AC.
I totally thought you were saying hot places and like hip and cool.
Oh,
I'm like, oh, new lingo. Okay.
no, it's
Go to the
like
mall. It's a hot
literally
place.
hot. Yeah, because in the summer there's rules. Like you can't be walking around outside
Really?
from 12 to 3 because it's 50 degrees.
Whoa.
You will die.
Wow.
Heat strokes are very common. Like I've had tons in my life.
That makes so much sense, but I've never thought of that.
Yeah, so you get in the car where there's AC. You go to a mall where there's AC. Your dad picks you up where there's AC again, and then you come home where there's AC.
Wow.
It's kind of like how you have heaters here
Yeah.
in the cold. It's like that. Like you wouldn't really be hanging around outside.
That's fair.
So-
Yeah. You love leaving places.
Yes.
How does photography fit into that?
Okay, so photography started. Actually, vlogging started before photography.
Oh yeah, I guess you started with your TikTok.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah. But it started. Okay, no. So vlogging started when I was a kid. Camcorders, my dad's weird like.
Yes.
Yeah, all those things. What is it called? I can't
like
remember.
the handheld
Yeah.
like home video.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's me.
Okay.
I'm making up stories for myself because I had no friends.
Yeah.
I'm talking to myself. So that kind of became a habit, and
You're like, look at how badly they're treating you.
yeah,
And now you can go back and be like, oh,
Yeah,
I see
know.
it.
Yep. But yeah, so like I would just make videos at home, just talk to myself, and I was always just like playing by myself too. So I started vlogging very early on, and then when I was in grade 8, my dad got a palm top.
What is a palm top?
It's a laptop, but it doesn't go on your lap. It's like a giant tablet, but it fits in your palm, so it's a palm top.
I've never heard of this. And I'm
Yeah.
trying to, does it open like a laptop?
No, it's just a tablet.
Okay. My mom had one called like a Palm Pilot. And
Could be the same thing.
it was like, it looks like what like a Kobo or like an ebook looks like, or
Yes.
an e-reader looks like
Yes.
now.
Yes.
And I remember she wanted the next thing, so she kept trying to sell it to
Oh
us
my
kids so she could like afford her next one. I'm like, I don't need
That's
this.
hilarious. That's hilarious. Yeah, because he had the palm top, and I remember he'd be like, "Look, you can take pictures of yourself," and like that was like selfies.
Okay.
But you just had to hold it up like this, like in your palm,
Oh,
and it was
that's
just
funny.
yeah. And so I'd take pictures with that.
Okay.
And then when I was in grade 12, they got me my first camera. It was like this little pink digital camera,
Yeah.
and it had to be pink. All of my shit was
Like
pink.
the little Canon one.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. I feel like everybody wanted that. It was like the cutest thing. It was so cool.
Yes.
They're coming back now.
I know.
I'm like kind of happy about it.
I see all the, like, on TikTok, they're like,
Yeah.
guys, like, you will never believe how I got these photos. And it's like, I had that when I was in grade 12.
I know.
Yeah. So they got me that. And then I started taking photos with that. But it wasn't, like, good or anything. It was very much just whatever photos.
13-year-olds taking pictures.
Yeah. And then in my third year of university, my dad said, "Do you want a car or do you want a camera?" And I said, "Oh my God, camera for sure."
Mm-hmm.
And so he was like, "What?" And I was like, "Yep, camera." Because my friends had cars, they could drive me around.
Yeah.
But a camera,
Yeah.
that would be life-changing for me. That's all I've wanted. So he was like, "Okay, fine." So I got my first Nikon digital camera. It was a DSLR.
That's so exciting.
And I was very excited. I was taking pictures all the time. I'd make my friends model. I'd make sure they put on outfits. Like, you have to dress up for this photo shoot. And
Did you pick out their outfits, or you let them kind of have like creative style or
Um,
creative freedom?
I always get people to send me pictures of their outfits so I can approve them.
That's smart.
I like having that control.
It's like you're making them think it's their idea.
Yeah. Give me 3 options and I'll pick.
Yeah, I like that. I want that.
Yeah.
As a person that does not understand like what's going to look good always,
Yeah.
I love somebody else make the final decision. So,
So, yeah, like I would do that. And then eventually I was like, this could go somewhere, you know, like with
Yeah.
photography. But then that same year, 2 months later actually, my dad got me Kelso. Kelso is my car.
yes.
And I've had Kelso ever since. It became just a thing. Like, I would ditch university, ditch all of my classes,
Oh
go. I have explored Vancouver the way I have explored Calgary.
no. Really?
Yeah.
Did you do the same content creation for that?
Um,
Or was it kind of more just for fun
was-
and like light?
it was just, I would say it was content creation, but it was on my other account,
Okay.
an account that no longer exists, but it was a documentation of my life from the first day I joined university.
Oh,
That was my first day in
wow.
Canada.
Do you
and-
have the account saved or is it completely gone?
I deleted
Is
everything.
that a regret?
Yes. Yes. And
Oh,
it's one of those things where now I have Simone and camera,
Yeah.
and I have Simone and camera, like
Mhm.
my photography account. And then that account was Simone Trouble Kumar, because people would be like, "Oh, your middle name is Trouble." So yeah, so it was
I
Simone
like that.
Trouble Kumar. And I deleted that
funny.
account, and I hate that I did that because it had
Yeah.
some of my earlier pictures, and it would be so nice to see the progress, like of how I've changed in content and photography and things
Yeah.
like that. But yeah, that was how photography and vlogging started for me.
I feel like everybody went through like a vlog stage,
Mhm.
like with YouTube. We're like watching everybody,
Yeah.
and then you're like, I want to do that.
Oh my God, can I tell you something?
Yes, please.
So, okay, so remember Vine?
Yes,
I had an account on Vine. I made one
It's
video
really funny on Vine.
on Vine. One video, and it blew up. And all these pages on Facebook and everywhere, they were sharing this. I was seeing my face on every page you can imagine. It's like one of those memes that get like forwarded and then
Yeah.
people are posting it and stuff. So I was Vine famous. And then my boyfriend at the time was like, "This is so embarrassing. That wasn't even a funny joke. Delete that shit right now or we're breaking
Oh
up."
my
And I was like, "Oh my
gosh.
goodness, no." So I deleted the whole account. I messaged every single Facebook page that had that. It took me months. I finally got that video off, and I thought about that a lot when TikTok started, because I was like, I could have been making bank by now, and I deleted that video because of him.
Oh no.
Yeah, but I have my
It's like some guy that's not even relevant either. And you're like,
I know. What do you mean that's not funny? You're not funny.
and also, yeah, if it's being shared that much, maybe it's just his bad opinion.
I can't believe it, Sarah. I can't. But I still have my old YouTube videos that are privated. And
Yes,
maybe
good.
someday when I have the guts to public them again, I will do that. But for now, they're just private.
Yeah. And you don't even, like, the nice thing about having it archived is you don't actually have to, like, public.
Yeah.
Right? You can just go cut in clips.
Yes.
And you get a lot of that,
Yes.
like, control back.
Yep.
And you can also, like, control the story.
Yeah.
Because back then, I feel like everybody's posting such stupid stuff.
Yeah.
Where you're like, oh, that's, like, really embarrassing.
Yeah.
Like, I posted some stuff that thankfully my sister was like, I don't think that comes across the way you want it to. I would delete that. And it had, like, 4 views. I'm like, thank goodness. And, like, delete it now. And then, especially when it's already stuff I'm, like, questioning if I should post it.
Yeah.
And then I think about it years later. I'm like, whew, thank
Yeah.
goodness that was down. Because, yes, my intention was good, but that did not come out right.
I know. I have a lot of those moments because, like I said, like, my upbringing was very different. And I think a lot of brown people, it's like internalized racism. Because when you grow up, it's like white people are the beauty standard. Like, if you have fair skin, you have different colored eyes, you know? Because my eyes growing up were shit eyes.
I remember you telling me stories of your shopping from us.
And then people that had brighter eyes, it's like, you could be ugly, but if you have brighter eyes, you're attractive, you know? So you grow up making all these comments, thinking stuff about people, and then that's also very, like, normal. So when I first came to Canada, like, in university, I would say things and people would be like, that is not okay, you can't say that, that's racist. And I'd be like, no, it's not, it's normal. What are you talking about? And then, like, slowly you're like, holy shit, this is not okay. And I still have those moments where sometimes, like, I'll say something and I'm like, why did I say that? That's not okay.
Or it, like, comes out and you're like, I don't even believe that.
Yeah, exactly.
But it's just, like, an automatic response to something.
Yeah.
I feel like I used to do that with women. Like, I've always been internally a girl's girl, but because I'm, like, seeking approval from anybody, I would say things that are cutting down other women, and I'd be like, I don't actually believe that. Why am I making that joke? Because I know they're gonna laugh, and I'm making it in hopes that they're gonna accept me. But so slowly I started being able to, like, cut that back. Or the hard part is when you're like, you say something, you're like, that was silly, I'm not gonna say that, I don't actually want to say that. Or if somebody laughs at it, you're like, that actually really wasn't funny. And they're like, wait, what? You made the joke. And you're like, I'm sorry. I should have said that, though. Like, you're calling out yourself and other people, and that's so hard.
I know. And, like, I would be almost, like, proud of the fact that I was making all these, like, comments. And I'd be like, that's just who I am. That's how I was raised. My parents were like that. Everybody's like that. Like, I don't know what you're talking about. And then, like, now I look back and I'm just like, what? What's that?
There's a thing with being an Aquarius where you, like, we love to jump on small trends.
I love this about her.
I always try and turn something into, like, astrology. I have to often bite my tongue because I'm like, Sarah, you're only bringing this up about astrology and nobody cares.
No, I love
Some
it.
people do. I love that you care. But
I'm still waiting on my report.
Oh, yeah. I have it all. I need to actually, like, read through it all again and send you the notes. I'll do that.
Okay.
But yeah, so Aquariuses, we're known for, like, jumping on bandwagons and flying flags that are not ours because we love an underdog.
Right.
So we always want to, like, even if it's something that we don't totally believe in, we will be like, no, like, they're clearly the smaller person. I'm going to jump into this. Or if you're the only one and everyone's kind of being like, you shouldn't say that, you're going to become your own underdog, being like, how dare you? Like, it's okay to be different. I'm going to hold this flag. I'm going to do this.
Oh my gosh.
And it's, I hear Gabby. One second.
Yeah.
Do you feel like in your travels you've come across an imbalance of solo male travelers versus solo female travelers?
I actually don't see a lot of solo males.
Really?
I see groups of males,
Okay.
but I see a lot of solo women.
I feel like that's changing.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like it's changing towards this.
Definitely, yes. I really haven't come across solo males.
Okay.
I thought I would
interesting.
I thought I would see more
Yeah.
solo males, but I always see more solo females.
Okay.
And the males are like with their friends or their girlfriends or things like
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
And so, do you hit hostels as well, or are you primarily hotels?
So if I'll be completely honest here. I'm a very thrifty person.
Okay.
So I will not splurge on clothes, shoes. The only thing I will splurge on is my camera equipment because that's what I value.
That's fair.
But everything else, the cheaper the better.
Okay.
As long as it's not like a dingy,
Yeah.
unsafe spot.
Yeah.
So hostels, if I was going with my friends, I would definitely pick hostels because that's the way to meet people.
Totally.
And also they're cheaper and you can use your money towards activities and things like
Yes.
that. So why not?
Yeah.
But for work, I go towards luxury because that's where the money's at.
Totally. Yeah. And
so-
you're also pitching them that way then
Yes.
too, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Because I was thinking with budget, like if someone wants to get into traveling,
Mhm.
I feel like they often can see like super budget travelers
Yeah.
and they can look at that, or they see super high end traveling,
Mhm.
and it's hard for people to see like that in between. But you
Yeah.
can do both, just
Mhm.
depending on the trip.
Yes. Yeah. What the purpose of the trip is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I want to talk a little bit now about you've got trips coming up.
Yes.
So, do you want to talk a little bit about how you got into hosting trips?
Okay. So honestly, I just got tired of asking my friends to come with me. And I think that's how everybody starts.
Okay.
Like you start solo traveling because you can't find anybody to go with you.
True, yeah.
And then you're like, hey, whatever, I'm just gonna go by myself. But I have really high anxiety when I travel alone.
Okay.
If I was in one place for a month, I will be in my room for like 90% of the time.
No way.
Yeah.
Really?
Yes.
I would not expect that from you.
I'm like I'm cold even just talking about it because it
You
gives
are
me
ice cold.
it gives me anxiety.
Oh my gosh.
I'm not the person. Okay, if it was me and a friend
Yeah.
or just someone else there, my personality is completely different.
Okay.
I am out and about exploring. I'm forcing this person to go explore
I
with
get
me.
that. I do that
Things
when I'm
like that.
traveling with Dustin.
But
I
if-
make him do stuff.
But if I'm alone,
Yeah.
mm-mm.
And is it because you're anxious of being out, like in that space, or is it because you're just loving the time alone? 'Cause
I'm
for me,
not
it's
loving
my-
the time
I'm-
alone.
Oh, I love the time alone. Like, give me a hostel bed with a sheet so I can
Really?
like hide in the bottom bunk and no one bother me.
Oh my gosh, no! I would love for someone to bother me.
That's so funny.
Yeah, no, I'm just alone because I'm anxious. And this is where I also think back and I'm like, I am so privileged. I hate public transport because I've never taken it.
Mm-hmm. I mean, to be fair, it's a little sketchy these days.
Yeah.
Like, Marcus keeps asking if we can go on the bus,
Mm-hmm.
and I want to take him,
Yeah.
but I'm also like a little bit nervous about the bus and or sky trains right now.
So for me, like I used to take it for my 9 to 5,
Okay.
but you will not catch me
Yeah.
taking public transport, especially in another country.
That's.
I will rent a car and I will drive it around. I will not take public transport because that
so
gives me
funny.
anxiety unless I'm with someone else.
Yeah.
In
and then
that
it's
case,
different.
I'm the one finding the routes.
Yeah.
I'm like, this is where we need to go. This is what we need to get on. You know,
It's like you just have to have a
things like that.
purpose. You have to
Yeah.
be guiding somebody.
Yes,
That's fair.
which is why I want to do group trips. And I also love. I've made 20 people, 10 couples move to Alberta
Oh yes.
because, and I
You have quite the roster going. This is so
do,
funny.
and like a lot of people will be like, oh yeah, like we were thinking about moving to Calgary, but then we saw your videos, and then we decided, yes, that is we need to move. And I love that because I love showing people around,
Yeah.
and I love the non-touristy spots.
Yes.
Like I love taking people into nature because I grew up in cities. I feel like nature is like where I find peace. I love showing people different places,
Yeah.
and I want to do that for girls, mostly.
Yes.
Internationally. One, because I can't travel alone.
Yeah.
And two, because I think it's just so much more fun.
Yeah.
With girls, you get to plan outfits and like they're down to do TikTok trends and like Instagram pictures and all of that stuff.
It's way more fun.
Yeah.
I do love traveling with my husband just because I want to travel.
Yeah.
But I've never traveled with friends specifically, but I have met people while traveling, and it's just different.
It is.
I feel like, especially when you can meet people, like with women, you meet people and you become friends so fast.
Yeah.
Because, and I won't say this is just with women, because it is kind of with anybody, but you suddenly have like a huge thing in common, which is being a foreigner in a different country, which is such a vulnerable space to be sometimes. So you all bond over that.
Yeah.
It's like a reverse trauma bonding.
Yes, yes.
What would be the reverse of trauma? It's like heal bonding?
Heal bonding, yeah.
Heal bonding.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's like, oh, tomorrow I'm going here. Do you want to come with me?
Yeah.
Now you have a travel buddy.
Yes. Have you ever had friends that you've met in other countries come stay with you, or have you gone and stayed with others?
No.
Okay.
But I would love that. Like, it is literally all I want is to just take people to places, just host trips, make them more comfortable, get them to be friends, and then like imagine just having friends all over the world.
I know.
And then you guys, if you're coming here, come home, stay at my place. Like, I would love that. There's nothing I want more than that.
Yeah. I had a friend again that I met while traveling Spain. We met my second week in Spain, which was like 2013 January, and then kind of lost touch, and I think it was 2018 somewhere, 2017 or 2018. She's in Toronto for a student exchange year.
Okay.
And she's like, I have reading break. I was thinking of flying to Calgary. Can I come stay with you for a week?
Oh my gosh.
I was like, yes. So she flew out here.
Yeah.
And we went to I showed her around Banff, and we did a bunch of stuff in Calgary. I think she was only here for 3 days actually, though not a week. And then I haven't seen her or talked to her again since. But there was like a 7-year gap almost, a 5-year gap. And when you make those, if people go on these trips with you, and you get to create all these beautiful bonds and friendships, it doesn't matter how much time goes by. Yeah. Because it's going to be reignited when you're like, hi, I'm coming to your country.
I know. And you still have those memories.
Yeah. With social media, this is your full-time gig, right?
Yes.
Do you find that there's loneliness from that, or is it because I feel like being online and we can connect with people so well? Yeah. But then when we're left to our own, that can be kind of lonely.
Very.
Do you feel that?
Very.
Yeah.
But I'm also very protective of my work. I take big pride in my work. And so I'm not eager to make content friends. There's so many events and stuff where you meet content creators and influencers and stuff, but I'm not keen on making friends like that. I just want a friend.
Authenticity.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just want everyday life.
Yeah.
Just like this, where I know stuff about your life.
Yeah.
Even though we are content friends.
Yeah.
But
it's one of those things that it introduced us to each other, but I feel like it's not it's not we're hanging out and always tagging each other and everything. Yeah.
Yeah. And I feel like sometimes it's hard to I would say this for me is an exception.
Yeah. Thanks for you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Whereas most of the time it would just be let's go shoot content. But then those are not the friends that I want to keep around.
Yeah. It feels like they've got ulterior motives.
Yes.
I've been to a couple events where they do somebody will be like, oh, what's your username?
Yeah.
And then they add me and then that's it. That was the conversation.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I don't really follow people unless I actually care about your content.
Yes.
And I can like you in person and not really care, following it.
Yeah. I know. And for me especially, I've come across a lot of people that are on my ass about giving them shout outs and being please post my page on your page. Why aren't you doing that? You have such a big following. How dare you not post it? I met you. I thought you were a nice person. And I have so many of those messages, and I'm just this is why I hate meeting content creators. It's just left such a bad taste in my mouth. Yeah. Because we have a nice meeting, and I think, okay, maybe I'll hit this person up in the future sometime and hang out as friends. But then between this time that we've met, And whatever time has passed, you've now just, I've got the ick for you.
Yeah.
Because you're constantly asking me to post your shit. And I don't want to do that. It's not my content. Like,
no.
Yeah.
I have very strong feelings about that. That actually was one of my next ones here was, how do you feel that content creation has really impacted your mental health and friendships and relationships? So you weren't a content creator when you got into your relationship, and I'm sure you've got friends that you've had since before content creating. Has that been, like, how has that impacted it?
To be completely honest, I have maybe 2 friends from before I started content creating, because
Was that because you were being awful, or because you actually lost people?
Yes, as an awful human being. But
if only they could see you now. Like,
I
your
know,
true array of sunshine.
I always tell people, and I feel like sometimes it can come across as a little bit braggy, because I'm like, I'm not that person. Like, whoever you knew, that person is long gone.
I get that. I was the same.
Right? Like, I was bitchy.
Yeah.
I was angry. And, like, you know.
Yeah. Like, so. I feel like that was just... It's so hard when you're, like, you meet people now and they're like, you tell them something, they're like, I can't imagine you doing that. You're like,
know.
Me neither at this point.
And I also feel like I was very sassy, but, like, rude sassy.
Yeah.
And so now, like, when I meet people from my early life, they'll be like, what happened to you? Like, you've lost, like, your spark. You've lost your zing. And I'm like, no, I'm just... the sass is still there. Yeah. It's just I'm not a dick.
Yeah. You're like, I'm not just offering it up unnecessarily.
Yeah, exactly. With relationships and friendships, I think that it's very important to get friends who understand that this is your work.
Yeah.
And that you're not just doing it for... clout chasing or whatever the perception might be, but to me it's all about photography and it's about creating and showing people places. As long as I'm doing those 2 things, I'm very happy and I could not give a shit about what people think. But yeah, it does affect me sometimes when people are like, oh, of course you're just doing this to get famous. Like, getting followers, it is part of what comes with it.
Yes.
But I've been doing this for a long time.
And people don't understand the work that goes into it.
I know.
Or the metrics that are needed.
Yes.
So that you can actually...
And I just started getting a following, like in the grand scheme of things.
Yeah.
You know?
Transitioning into all of that, was there any, like, issues? Because you were, what, HR before?
Yes.
So, how does moving jobs and changing careers, how did that impact, like, family and stuff? Or was that already...
So... Honestly, kudos to John. If it wasn't for him, I wouldn't have left my 9 to 5. I would have still been in HR, because to make decisions for me is really hard, because most of my life I wasn't allowed to make any. Like, I was in accounting because my mom wanted me to be in accounting. I went to the university that I went to because my mom wanted me to go there. Everything that I did was because my parents wanted me to do that. And I felt like if I wasn't doing that, I was just a disappointment. And anyway, I'm a disappointment. Like, I've always been one to them. So I didn't want to further be one. You know? Like, I wanted to do something better. But then when I met John, it was like the switch where he was just so different. He was like, why are you so insecure about your stretch marks? Like, they're just marks. And it was just, he just said it once. And I was just like, yeah. And the next day I was a hoe. I was like in shorts. I was in a tank top, and my friends were like, dude, what? And I was like, yeah, like, who cares? You just need one person to, like, just question it.
They just have to plant that seed for you.
And I feel like as girls, sometimes it's like, well, you wear what you're comfortable with, you know? Like, don't care about what people say. But I really needed to hear their stretch marks, so what? That is it. That's all I needed to hear. And so I have these moments a lot with him.
Good.
Where he'll make me question things. With HR, I wasn't in HR, I was in accounting.
Oh.
And then John was like, what the heck are you doing in accounting? You don't know how to count. And I was like, oh my god, yes, but, like, how can I tell my parents that I didn't want to be an accountant? You know, that I wanted to be in HR. And HR is considered, like, you're dumb if you go into HR.
Okay. Why?
Because, as you know, it's like doctor, engineer, right, or lawyer, and everything other than that.
So
is
you're
just,
like already scraping the barrel as an accountant.
yes. Oh my goodness. I remember having that phone call with my parents being like, I have to tell you something. And I was stuttering and sweating. And my dad was like, spit it out, Simone. And I was like, I don't want to do accounting anymore. I want to do HR. And my dad was like, yeah, okay. Because my dad is very chill.
Yeah.
And my dad's the kind that's like, you don't want to do your homework, don't do it. Because whether you do it or not, you're still going to be who you have to be
Okay.
in life. But my mom, on the other hand, high achiever, right? So, yeah, she was the one that's always like, you have to. When I switched to content creation, it was an easy switch because I was just like, screw HR.
See, this is the sass.
But yeah,
this is your sassiness.
Yes.
You're just using it with purpose this time.
Yes. I'm channeling it in the right way.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mental health. Sorry, going back to the topic. I think you just need friends who truly understand you and know that it's not for fame.
Yeah.
And that I have a passion for it. That was really important for me to find friends that understand that. Yeah, I've lost a lot of friends. I've made friends, and then I've lost a lot of friends because I've realized that you just wanted me for something.
What are 3 unique skills that have helped you be successful with your photography and your content creation?
Okay, so this is just one tip that I want everybody to know. It is that an algorithm, no matter on what platform, can always be trained. And consistency is how you do it. So when I have been consistent, it's always to prove someone wrong. Like, people have always been like, oh, Instagram hates me. And then I'll be like, no, it doesn't. Watch me do it. And then I'll grow, and I'll be like, okay, you have your proof now, go do it. And then I can slow down, and like I won't post for like weeks, or I'll just, not be so consistent. And then I'll hear someone else that I really care about be like, my friends aren't interacting with my posts, I hate that. And I'm like, your audience is not your friends, dude. They're all of these millions of people outside of your friend group. That's who you're supposed to target, and this is how you do it. And then I'll go like super hardcore, and then I'll gain a bunch of followers, and I'll be like, is that proof enough for you? And then I'll slow down again. So I feel like every time I have gained followers or like had really high engagement, it's when I've had to prove someone that consistency is what you need. So definitely consistency. That's number 1. Number 2 is high quality work. And I've realized that high quality means different for different people. Like, for some people, even if you're taking photos in like bad lighting or whatever, it's high quality for them. Like learning to play piano, there's rules. First, you learn the scales. You learn like what keys you're playing this piece in and things like that. And then you can play from your heart.
Piano?
Yeah.
Wow, okay.
So it's like, it's kind of
Good
like...
analogy, though.
Yeah. Like, you have to learn all of those things, and then you can create your own pieces and like play from the heart, like people say. But you have to know these things first. I feel like a lot of people, especially now with Instagram being such a huge thing and content creation being such a huge thing, influencers being such a huge thing, quality, especially with photography, is just, what do you even mean? Like, I have to clarify that so many times, because to me, quality is something completely different than what quality can mean to some people. But I truly think that if you want to be paid what you're worth, and I think everybody deserves to be paid a really good amount for content creation, because it's not easy, that you need to learn the basics before you can start being like, oh, I kind of want to get a new camera, or like, it's very easy to externalize things that you need to do, but you really just need to learn the rules first and then go from there. And then the third thing would be, I guess, just community. Because I love going live, and I like talking to people, making friends. A lot of the people that come on my live or that interact with my posts are the same people. And I love that. Like, even for this Banff group trip, I didn't realize so many people would want to go with me. It's one thing to like plan a trip and then like talk about it on Instagram, and then it's another thing to see names come in. And it's like, they want to go with me. And then
that'd be so fun.
And then the messages come through, and they're like, I love your video, or I went here because of you. Or like, they'll see me and they'll be like, dude, I follow you on TikTok, or like, I follow you on Instagram. And I love that it makes a difference.
Yes.
And I think it's important to be honest with your audience and be authentic. And then the community comes and then that keeps you encouraged.
Totally.
So consistency, quality, community.
Okay. I love that. I feel like it's something that looks so basic, but it's way harder to actually implement than people want to admit.
Yeah.
And people won't admit it till they try it, and then they're going to come up with a different excuse.
Yeah.
Okay, we've got a couple last questions. Okay. So these ones were from some people who I'd asked on Instagram.
Okay.
One person wanted to know what's the best spot that you stumbled upon unexpectedly.
Reader Rock Garden.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Your video, actually, I've heard about it, but your video made me want to go there as well.
Right?
Yeah.
It's such a beautiful spot.
Yeah.
Okay, so if you look at my Google Maps, there's a whole bunch of places that I have saved. Want to go here, want to go here. But Reader Rock, I was just driving and I saw the arch.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh my God, what is that? Because I also do wedding photography. So for me, I'm always location scouting. So I turned and I was like, dude, what is this? And I saw a graveyard and I was like, period. Because I also love graveyards. So we started walking and I was like, wait, this is Reader Rock Garden? Because I've heard of this place, but I've never been there before. And I accidentally stumbled upon it that day.
So cool.
So yeah, Reader Rock Garden.
Another one is, what is your worst fear when traveling?
That I'm going to get raped and killed.
Valid.
Yeah, because I think... So my biggest wish growing up was that I'd be let to go to India alone and like travel and explore India. Because India... If I could live in India, I wouldn't go anywhere in the world.
You've shared some beautiful stuff from your last trip.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. India has everything. We have snow-covered mountains. We have sandy desert. We have the most lush green forests. And we also have plains and plateaus and everything. You would never need to leave the country.
Yeah.
And you can never be done exploring it. That's the best thing. There's so much diversity in food, in the landscape, weather. But my parents never let me because it's unsafe. It's people are getting killed and raped and things like that. So growing up, my fear was always being raped and murdered.
Yeah.
But ever since moving to Calgary, it's being shot. Because I always get comments and messages and stuff on my social media being like, be careful, you're gonna get shot if you trespass and things like that.
Oh,
and even though I'm so scared of like trespassing, and I always make sure that there's no trespassing signs, some people just don't have fences or whatever,
I know.
You know?
What is the creepiest thing that's ever happened to you while traveling?
Oh my God. It happened at Three Sisters Pond, the location that I shared. I was there shooting content, and this was like, I was alone, and I was just making videos talking about this place. And there were a bunch of boys smoking weed in the corner, and they were making fun of me, whatever. You can make fun of me if you want. And then two of them came up to me, and they were just like, oh, are you making videos for Instagram? And I was like, yeah, I am. And they were like, oh, let's see. And they took my phone.
Oh my gosh.
And I was like, oh my God, where's my birdie? Like the birdie alarm thing, the personal safety alarm. It was in my wallet, and my wallet was like with my bag that was so far away. And I was like, oh my goodness, I'm gonna get raped and murdered. This is my biggest fear, and no one's gonna find me because I'm gonna be here at Three Sisters Pond.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. But then the other guys were like, dude, leave them alone.
Oh, good.
And then, yeah. So I'm really thankful when people speak up and say something. Yeah. Because a lot of times it's just the bystander effect and they don't say anything.
Totally.
And I hate that. So, yeah, I'm very thankful that nothing happened, but that was very creepy.
What is your favorite food that you have tried while traveling?
Okay, so I'm not a foodie, but I do like my snacks and drinks. So I'm always trying different snacks in every country that I go to. And I think my favorite would have to be India for sure. Yeah. That's always number one. But my second would have to be in Europe because cheese.
I was gonna say cheese.
Because I don't get to have cheese where I'm not pooping
Yeah.
right after.
Yeah. The
And
cheese
so-
in North America is not
Yes.
even close. Even when they're like, it's from a European place.
Oh.
Like, I learned that they actually cannot ship one of the key ingredients. They
Yeah.
cannot allow it in Canada.
Oh.
And I think it's like a sheep's stomach or something that they like brine a lot of the milk in.
Okay.
If I'm remembering correctly.
Interesting.
So, yeah.
Cheese. Oh my god, different types of cheeses. Just cheese with meats and cheese with fruit.
Cheese with fruit is so underrated.
Yeah. Just cheese.
That's fair.
Yeah.
Does India have good cheese dishes?
I actually didn't grow up with cheese. And in
Oh.
India, cheese is not... The only cheese we have is paneer, which is cottage cheese. But that's because it's really hot and humid.
Okay.
So it's hard to... Like, baking in India came very late
Oh.
in life. We have this thing called tandoors, which are like underground ovens, like tandoori chicken and stuff like that. Yeah. So that's how you make naan originally. You put it in the tandoor.
Okay.
Yeah. So we didn't have ovens or anything. So cakes were very later on in life. Pizza, because where are you gonna get cheese? It was later on in life. But yeah, now they have cheeses, but I haven't tried it in India. But cheese in Europe, oh my god, just cheese.
Where do you want to go to next in Europe?
I want to go to Greece.
Oh, I miss Greece.
Yeah.
I feel like we went and we just like, it was our first spot in a big week, like 5-week trip. And we just did not take it enough time.
Oh, really?
So I can't wait for you to go through Greece and I can live vicariously through you for a little while.
I'm so excited. I dream about Greece so much.
Well, that is kind of everything I have, and I think we're pretty much out of time. So
Okay.
thank you so much for coming on. Can you
Of
tell
course.
everybody where they can find you on social media?
If you want to find me, my usernames are Simone and Camera on everything. So SIMONE and 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 then camera. And just send me a message and say, hey, I saw you on Sarah's podcast, and I will respond to you.
Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you for having
Thanks for your
me.
time. Thank you, Simone, so much for coming on. That was such a lovely episode. I loved our conversation. Thank you very much for listening. If you are interested in a Banff trip with her, I'm not sure if there's any tickets left, but I will leave her links below in the description and you can go check that out. Highly recommend following her on all of her social medias so you can stay up to date with everything she's doing. And you can also go ahead and follow me on social media. It's sarah.g.carter on TikTok and on Instagram, or you can also follow the podcast on Instagram as She's Doing All Right. And if you haven't yet rated or reviewed the podcast, please do so. Rating, reviewing, and subscribing is the best way to subscribe. It's the best way to support the podcast and what I'm doing here. So I really appreciate if you can do that. Thank you for listening. I will catch you in the next one. Bye.
Look at you now, you're alive. Oh, look at you now, you're alright. When the night